Imagine the sound of your heart pounding, then suddenly stopping, as if the world has pressed a pause button on your life. You wake up in a room that feels like a battlefield, even though the war ended years ago. The ordinary hum of traffic, the chatter at a birthday party, the rush of a crowded subway, all of it can feel like a trigger, a hidden alarm that goes off without warning.
What if I told you that a single traumatic event can rewire the very organ that creates your reality? Hi, I'm a psychologist and neuroscientist who has spent the last decade studying how trauma reshapes the mind. Over 70% of adults experience at least one traumatic event in their lifetimes,
And the impact can be as subtle as a lingering sense of unease or as intense as flashbacks that hijack your thoughts.
In the next 10 minutes, you'll learn what trauma really does to your brain, why symptoms appear the way they do, and what science says about healing.
Let's dive into the hidden world inside your head.
First, let's define trauma. It's an event that overwhelms a person's ability to cope, shattering their sense of safety. Trauma can be acute, like a single car crash, chronic, like ongoing abuse, or complex, involving multiple, interpersonal wounds over time. It touches every corner of humanity, children, elders, people from all cultures. Yet, two people can experience the same event and react so differently. Why does that happen? The answer lies in how our nervous system records the experience, turning moments into lasting imprints on the brain's hardware. When a traumatic event strikes, the brain's alarm system, centered in the amygdala, lights up like a flare in the night sky.
The amygdala is the brain's threat detector. It grabs attention, releases stress hormones, and prepares the body to fight, flee, or freeze. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex.
This imbalance means that the brain's logical center can't fully calm the storm that the amygdala has unleashed. The hippocampus, the region that stores memories and helps us place them in time and space, also suffers.
Under the flood of stress hormones, the hippocampus shrinks, making it harder to distinguish past from present. That's why you might feel a memory of a distant event as if it's happening right now, why a sudden smell can plunge you back into a moment you thought you'd left behind. Over time, repeated exposure to trauma can hardwire these pathways, creating a brain that is constantly on high alert.
Now, let's talk about the body's chemical messengers. When danger is perceived, the hypothalamus signals the release of cortisol, the primary stress hormone. In short bursts, cortisol is helpful. It fuels the body's quick response.
But chronic exposure keeps cortisol levels elevated, poisoning neurons, especially in the hippocampus, and interfering with the brain's ability to recover after stress.
This prolonged chemical storm also affects the neurotransmitter dopamine, which alters motivation and pleasure, and serotonin, which can dampen mood regulation.
The result is a cascade of symptoms: hypervigilance, intrusive thoughts, emotional numbness, and a persistent feeling that safety is an illusion.
You might wonder why some people seem to bounce back while others stay stuck. Genetics, early life experiences, and the presence of supportive relationships all play a role.
A nurturing environment can buffer the brain's stress response, strengthening the prefrontal cortex and promoting resilience.
Conversely, isolation and ongoing stress can cement the trauma pathways, making recovery more challenging.
Neuroimaging studies have given us a visual map of these changes. Functional scans reveal an overactive amygdala, a muted prefrontal cortex, and a reduced hippocampal volume in individuals who have endured severe trauma. These differences are not just academic. They explain why a simple glance at a crowded street can send a racing heart, why certain sounds can trigger a cascade of panic,
and why some people find it hard to trust even the most benign social interactions.
Understanding this blueprint is the first step toward healing. It tells us that trauma is not a moral failing or a sign of weakness. It is a physiological response etched into the brain's architecture.
The good news is that the brain remains plastic throughout life.
Therapeutic approaches such as cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and mindfulness practices work by gradually rewiring those neural circuits. They help the prefrontal cortex regain its regulatory role, calm the amygdala, and encourage the hippocampus to rebuild its capacity for contextual memory.
If this is opening your eyes, hit that subscribe button and let's keep exploring together.
In the next segment, We'll dive deeper into how specific therapies engage the brain's natural healing mechanisms and what you can do today to start rebalancing your own neural pathways. One of the most powerful ways to tap into the brain's natural capacity for repair is through targeted therapeutic modalities that speak directly to the wounded neural circuits. Cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, works by helping you identify the automatic thoughts that arise when a trauma-related cue appears, and then systematically challenge those thoughts with evidence-based reasoning. Over time, this practice strengthens the prefrontal cortex's ability to exert top-down control, reducing the amygdala's alarm response.
You might notice that a situation that once sent your heart racing now feels manageable, and that shift is the brain literally rewiring itself.
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing takes a slightly different route. By guiding your eyes through a series of rapid movements while you recall a distressing memory, the technique encourages bilateral integration of the traumatic imprint. Think of it as giving the brain a gentle nudge to reorganize the memory in a way that separates the raw emotional charge from the factual details. As the emotional intensity fades, the hippocampus can more accurately place the memory within a context, allowing you to recall it without the flood of panic that once accompanied it. Mindfulness and meditation, meanwhile, train the nervous system to stay present in the moment, rather than spiraling into past recollections or future worries. Regular practice has been shown to increase gray matter density in areas associated with attention and emotional regulation, essentially giving the prefrontal cortex a sturdier foundation from which to govern the limbic system.
When you sit quietly and observe your breath, you are sending a signal to the brain that safety is present,
which over time can quiet the hypervigilant alarm that trauma often installs. Beyond formal therapy, there are daily habits that can reinforce these neural changes. Physical activity, especially aerobic exercise, floods the brain with neurotrophic factors that promote the growth of new connections. Even a modest walk in nature can lower cortisol levels and boost dopamine, creating a biochemical environment conducive to healing.
Sleep, too, plays a critical role. During deep restorative phases, the brain consolidates memories and clears metabolic waste.
Prioritizing a regular sleep schedule, dimming lights in the evening, and limiting screen exposure can dramatically improve emotional resilience. Nutrition is another often overlooked pillar. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as fatty fish, walnuts, and flax seeds, support synaptic plasticity and reduce inflammation that can exacerbate anxiety. Antioxidant-laden fruits and vegetables help protect neural tissue from oxidative stress, while maintaining stable blood sugar through balanced meals can prevent mood swings that might trigger trauma-related flashbacks. Social connection acts as a powerful antidote to the isolation that trauma can impose.
Engaging with trusted friends, family, or support groups provides external regulation that mirrors the brain's internal calming mechanisms.
When you share your story in a safe space, the act of verbalizing the experience activates language centers that can reframe the memory, reducing its emotional grip.
Even brief moments of eye contact or a comforting hug release oxytocin, a hormone that promotes feelings of safety and bonding.
If you're wondering where to begin, start small. Choose one habit, perhaps a 10-minute mindfulness practice each morning or a daily walk after dinner, and commit to it for a few weeks. Notice how your body feels before, during, and after the activity.
Journaling your observations can help you track subtle shifts in mood and anxiety levels, reinforcing the sense of progress that fuels motivation.
It's also important to recognize that setbacks are a natural part of the healing journey.
A sudden surge of anxiety after a stressful day does not mean you've failed. It simply reflects the brain's ongoing process of recalibration.
When you encounter such moments, practice self-compassion. Acknowledge the feeling, breathe deeply,
and remind yourself that the neural pathways you are reshaping take time to solidify. Research continues to reveal exciting developments in trauma treatment. Emerging approaches such as neurofeedback allow individuals to observe real-time brain activity and learn to modulate it consciously, essentially providing a direct line of communication between mind and machine. Virtual reality exposure therapy creates safe, controlled environments where you can gradually confront trauma-related triggers under professional guidance. accelerating desensitization.
While these technologies are still evolving, they underscore a hopeful truth. The brain's capacity to heal is far greater than once believed.
As we wrap up this exploration of how trauma reshapes the mind and how science offers pathways to recovery, I want to leave you with a simple yet profound invitation.
Take a moment right now to place your hand over your heart. Feel the steady rhythm beneath, and remind yourself that you are more than the sum of past hurts.
Your brain is a living organ, forever adapting, and you hold the keys to guide its transformation. If any part of this discussion resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What strategies have you found helpful in quieting the inner alarm?
Have you tried any of the therapies mentioned, and what was your experience?
Sharing your story not only reinforces your own learning, but can also provide a beacon of hope for someone else navigating a similar path.
If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you won't miss future deep dives into the science of the mind.
Your support helps us continue to bring evidence-based content that empowers you to understand and heal your brain. And if you feel moved to spread the word,
feel free to share this video with friends or family members who might benefit from a clearer picture of how trauma works and how recovery is possible. Remember, the journey toward healing is not a solitary trek. It's a collaborative dance between your biology, your environment, and the intentional actions you choose each day.
By nurturing your brain with therapy, movement, nutrition, sleep, and connection, you are actively rewriting the script that trauma once wrote.
Keep exploring, stay curious, and trust that with each mindful step, you are moving toward a future where safety feels real, memories lose their sting,
and the mind can once again flourish.
Thank you for joining me on this path of discovery. Until the next episode, take care of your brain, honor your resilience, and keep shining your light.